This hangout on air is now good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are, and welcome to Chattering with Nicholas Vince. In a few moments, I'm going to introduce Jonas Wolcher. Depending on where you are. Oops, and I've just realised. In a few moments, I'm going to have to. The first thing, Alex. I've got all this wrong. Oops, I've just realised. Sorry, folks. There we are. Oh, this is all going wrong. For those of you who spotted the comment on YouTube, there's no Craig this evening, so I'm having to do laptops and so on, and I forgot to turn the sound down on the laptop so I can monitor people's comments. But anyway, the gentleman laughing at me, quite rightly, is Jonas. Hi, Jonas.
Hello. Yeah, I'm sure this will be so fun to do.
What I was trying to do was to thank everybody who subscribed and so on, and to either the YouTube channel or liked the Chattering with Nicholas Vince page. Yeah. Which reminds me, I really need to make sure I've got links to the Chattering with Nicholas Vince page spread around a lot more on the YouTube channel. And also just spoiler alerts for the films that we're going to be discussing this evening. Jonas, thank you so much indeed for coming along and joining me this evening. So we're going to be talking about two of your films. But before we do that, let's start with Exorcist III. So you chose Exorcist III as your hidden horror.
Yeah.
When did you first come across Exorcist III?
I believe it was when I heard the songs from Frontline Assembly, when they've sampled some of the lines from the movie, and then I actually saw the movie. For me, this was the next rental. I remember it. I forgot to bring it with me, of course. But I have it at home. It's an X rental, like this big VHS box. But it totally changed my view of horror movies, because this was not a typical horror movie. People were screaming. The pace in that movie is so slow. I mean, he's talking about the trout swimming in his bathtub, and I mean, there's so much. If you compare Exorcist with Seven, which came in 1995, I think. This one was 1993, 92, 93, I'm not sure. But it's completely two different movies, and it's all about the horror of people and what they achieved and what they can achieve. So for me, when I saw The Exorcist III, I just realized, okay, I've seen the first one, and that scared me the hell out of me. But part 3 scared me more because of the old lady, and she was talking with a radio, and I thought that's something really scary. People are talking about with their equipment, their tools, their average stuff they're having. That's scary. And then you in the end actually see the old lady with this big cutting tool for cutting heads. That's really scary when she just brought it up in during the dinner in the end of the movie. Oh, this is a spoiler. So sorry.
No, that's right. I've already given spoiler alert. I found it. It must have been decades since I'd watched the film. Funnily enough, the one I really remember is Exorcist II. I know I'm in a complete minority because I quite enjoyed it, but I think it was one of the reasons I enjoyed Exorcist II, and it's special to me was because the mind has gone fried, and I can't remember the director's name. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
He wrote a book about the making of Exorcist II, and it ends with the immortal line, "Filmmaking is just money into light." It's turning money into light. And I thought, yeah, that's very true. That's exactly what filmmaking is all about, which is why I think, and as you know, so he takes about all the trials and tribulations of making. It was the first behind the scenes book on making a movie that I'd ever read. And it's around here somewhere still, I think. But yeah, Exorcist III, I think it's a trout or a carp that's swimming in the bathtub.
It's a carp.
It's a carp. It's a carp that is swinging
in the bathtub.
Yes.
And he's looking at this for weeks. And you can actually feel his disgust. And then he just realized, oh, shit, I'm going to eat that carp.
Well, it's such a beautiful evocation of a friendship.
Yes.
You know, his friendship with the priest. Is quite extraordinary, and you know these are two. You know, the way they bicker, the two of them, so that when the inevitable happens to the priest, you really feel his sense of loss. And I have to say, it's an amazing performance by George C. Scott, who obviously took over from Lee J. Cobb, who died prior to the film being made.
Yeah, but I have to say the third part is still one of my favorites, and I think that it's because the slow pace but the characters. I love the characters, and I love the way he actually speaks to his friend and all the people he interrogates. He tells about the victims, and you can actually feel something has happened to them. And I think that's why I like it so much, because you can't see any special effects. The young boy who was crucified on the oars in the boathouse, you will never see it. You will see a boathouse, yes. You will see the boats outside, and you see the police cars. That's it.
It's very interesting, isn't it? There's some really weird and wonderful stuff in it as well. There's the quotations from Macbeth.
Yeah.
You know, the subtle quotations from Macbeth. As you say, there is not a lot of gore in it.
You have some gore effects, and the gore effects is when you see the back of the priest, where it's written, "It's a Wonderful Life."
Yeah, yes, but everyone's covered in sheets. It's all very subtle. There's a really weird. There's a statue of what is a saint.
Yes.
But it seems to have a Batman's Joker style face.
Yes.
For no real explanation from what I can see. And I think, but don't know if it's William Peter Blatty's first time as director. Obviously, he wrote the sequel.
He did. I think that was his first.
Yeah.
Because the first one was William Friedkin, and William Friedkin. I mean, for me as a filmmaker, I think William Friedkin is a master, and he's quite disturbing sometimes, because I mean, for the poor actors in the first Exorcist, they had to instead of clappers, he used guns so, to make them afraid, and well, it worked, because some of the scenes are really good in Exorcist, the first one. But I think that the third, you get to know all the characters, but still the story itself is. I mean, it's really doesn't matter if it's about the Exorcist, the first Exorcist, or just about exorcism, because the acting is so good. And I think George C. Scott was a hell of an actor.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. I mean, Scott's pattern is an amazing performance. Michael, hi, Michael. Michael says he prefers the director's version of Legion. I had real difficulty getting hold of Legion. In fact, I've not been able to get. I had to resort to watching it on a YouTube,
Yeah.
because you can't get it in this country.
Okay.
It doesn't stream anywhere. It's on Prime in the USA, but not in this country. So I'll thank you for that recommendation, Michael. I'll keep a lookout for the director's cut of The Exorcist III, because it was quite confusing. And the version I was watching, it was almost as if things had been put out of order. So
we will see the Exorcist 3 then. I will try to get it on. I hope they will release one on DVD or Blu-ray.
I think it's released in America on Blu-ray, and it's definitely been released as part of the trilogy. It's so long since I've tried to play an American DVD or Blu-ray. I don't know if I can play it. But yeah, I do like, as you say, it's the characterization, it's the the imagery. There's a great bit where the lady who's delivering the speech to the priest, whilst George C. Scott is there, and she runs downstairs with her black coat drifting out behind her as she runs downstairs, almost as if she's some kind of raven or a bird or something. He really just took his time and just said, let's make this as beautiful as possible.
Yeah, and I like the music in that one. I think the music in and this is something which I think very, very much when I decided to make a movie. That's the soundtrack. So the soundtrack for Exorcist 3 is great because there's a lack of soundtrack.
Yes.
They use all the soundtrack is there because you need to use the soundtrack to make the next scene work. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good recommendation. Thank you very much indeed for sharing that with us, because I think I must have watched it. I think I probably watched the end of it very late at night, probably sometime in the 1980s on TV, or perhaps later than that. But no, I don't remember ever sitting down and actually watching it from beginning to end before.
Nope.
It's good. It's very good. Yeah, thank you very much for recommending that. So that's The Exorcist. That was your hidden horror. Now let's talk a little bit about you referred to yourself as having making movies and the importance of music in your movies, which we will come back to later on when we speak about Octolab. But what are the first of your movies that you chose was now the Zombiejäger?
Yeah, that's German. I have to say something. I have the original poster over here.
Wow!
Because we have decided to fix this version into so it's suitable for theaters now. So it's in 2K, and it's quite strange looking at a movie which we shot for 4,000 euros, and it will. I mean, we shot it with 8 different what do you call those mini DVD cams,
right?
So the resolution is not quite high, but when we put it on a 2K quality, it looks wonderful, especially on theaters. So this was the first time in 10 years we actually screened Zombiejäger on theaters.
So when did you make it?
It's made in 2005, but we began in 2003. I began in 2002 to just have the idea, because I did a short called Zombienoid, which is if you're paranoid, if you're zombinoid, you're paranoid of having zombies or turning into a zombie. So that's the first idea of being zombinoid. And then we tried to do part 2 in 2003. So in the 6th of July this year, it will turn 15 years since we shot the first scene. So we will celebrate this so much we can as possible by having a tour, the Zombiejäger tour in Gothenburg, where you can actually go to the places where we shot the movie, because it's almost like 100 to 300 meters from each scene. And we shot it in the middle of Gothenburg, which was, it was a challenge.
Is this because you didn't have any permissions and you were doing it so cheaply? You just...
Oh no, we had permissions.
Right.
Oh yes, but it didn't went as we thought it went. The first day of shooting, we forgot the permit, and we were going down the lane at an avenue, which is the big lane of in the middle of Gothenburg, and the zombie hunters, they were carrying shotguns and machine guns in the middle of the streets, and we had a police car following them very, very slowly. And they saw, they saw the mics, they saw the cameras, they saw everything, but they were very cautious, and they were just driving, and they were looking, and they didn't say anything. But this was quite fun, because it all began. We should make a music video for a band who went. They contribute with music for Zombienoid, the first one, and I said, well, we make a zombie music video, and they said okay. And in the morning, just one of the two members showed up on a bike, and he said, well, it's not going to be any music video. And we were standing there and thought, what? Okay, we have the crew, we have the zombies, we have everything, but where's the band? So we decided to make the first shots in 2003, and it went, I think it went 1 month later. We just decided, okay, screw this, let's make a movie. And from the beginning, the first name of the movie, the title, was Zombienoid 2: City in Terror. But then afterwards, I decided to go for Zombiejäger, and I needed. I got. There is a movie in US called. Hold on. It's about zombie hunters, and they have this company. I will probably get the name when we are finished. But anyway, this is one of the most important movies for me when I did this movie, because I had this in mind all the time. It's about zombie hunters, and this one is from 1989, I think, very early for an American zombie movie. And Dead Next Door. Yes.
Right.
Here we go. So Dead Next Door. And I was so fascinated by the whole thing about this zombie hunter pack, like Ghostbusters. So I decided, well, we have a lot of but during the 90s and the beginning of 20s, we had some, there were so many German tourists. So I decided, well, let's put the needle in the Germans. So let the German be the bad guys turning into zombie hunters. And the reason for that one was because my first idea was, okay, we have a pack of zombie hunters, and then we have the city, and the city is not, they're not prepared to have professional Swedish zombie hunters hunting down Swedes. No, they're sending cheap German zombie hunters coming to Sweden and fix everything, because the serum, the antidote for getting cured, is it's too expensive. So that's why they put those German zombie hunters coming to Sweden to fix everything.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So how long did it take you to shoot?
Oh, 3 years. Oh, if you see the movie, you will see all the changes in the haircuts and the. I mean, there's so many changes during the movie, and the hair changes as well, and the color of the hair changes.
Because one of them, yes, because one of them's got a very definite coxcomb.
Yeah, exactly. Those Apache.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
Mohican.
Mohawk. The Mohawk. That was quite special, because we have to shave him every time to make this perfect, and then we put some duct tape on all the sides, and then we sprayed it with orange, because it was an orange color, and then we began shooting.
It's the great joys of doing of these things. What you mentioned the permits, etc. Looking back on it now, what was your favorite moment? Over 3 years, what can you think of a favorite moment from the filming?
Yes. I think when I think it's quite funny moment, but it wasn't funny then. We had assembled so many great makeup artists and so many great extras for a zombie scene, and we did some terrific work with those zombies. Everything went perfect until we went outside shooting this. It was dark and it was cold. It was maybe 3 degrees only, rain, and we couldn't use anything of those pictures. We used only it was supposed to be day scenes. So what we did, we put 3 or 4 cars and put the headlights on, and then we shot three scenes, and that's it. All these zombies, we just screw them. They did a terrific job, but none of those pictures worked. That was very sad, but it's fun to do, to think of today.
I'm sure at the time it must have been an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. And all the makeup artists, they were girls, and they came from a school, and they weren't prepared. They had high heels and nice looking clothes, and suddenly they realized, oh shit, we're going to be up in, this is a high place where they have a big water tower, and we were there. It was windy, cold, of course, rain, and dark, and they were standing there in high heels and nice looking clothes. They thought this is movie making. This is the cool thing about movie making, and that's why I always say to people, well, if you're into movie making, get prepared to get wet and cold and get sick, probably 1 or 2 times during the production.
That's very sensible. Yeah, because I remember when we made The Night Whispered, you know, it had been about 10 degrees or 10 degrees Celsius a week, and it dropped to 0 the night we were doing the night shoot. So it always happens. It always happens. It's never going to go exactly as you planned it. So so if I've understood you correctly, you've taken your movie and you've now screened it in cinema. Was this in Gothenburg or?
No, it was in Trollhättan. The last time we screened it abroad was in Rome, 2012.
Right.
So we haven't screened it in other countries.
Right.
The last time in Sweden was in 2008. So we need to go abroad with this one because I think people will have so much fun, and that's why I finally founded the drinking game for Zombiejäger.
I was just going to mention
that one and send it out to people.
Yes, you very kindly gave me, and I'm just bringing it up on screen because it's quite. I mean, normally a drinking game, I would say you usually just have 1 or 2 or 3 rolls, but when I got this through, it's like this goes on for a couple of pages, if not more.
Yes.
So for each scene you have to drink at a particular time. So let me just read out some of the instructions. Yes. This is the official beer drinking game for the Swedish cult movie zombie splatter comedy Die Zombiejäger. In order to play this game, you need a 6-pack of beers, preferably canned, beerwurst or dried meat. What is beerwurst? Is that a type of sausage?
Yeah, that's the German Bierwurst. Those. I think they're very thin, and then you have them with beer. And you eat them. Yeah. You get them in bars. It's very.
Okay. Okay. I
don't know. Do you have those in England as well?
I don't drink alcohol, so I very seldom go into pubs. And I certainly haven't been into a German pub. But I'm just trying to remember in the last. Yes, it's probably approaching a decade.
Yeah.
Since I was last in Germany, we were there at Christmas time, and it was wonderful.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. Anyway, so or dried meat. You need a piece of clothing to throw on the floor, toothpicks, a pack of cigarettes or a box of candy, Tic Tacs, a pencil to stab a zombie with, a condom, a small piece of paper. Here's the foundation of the game. It's easy. Each time you see a Swedish flag, you give it a salute. Every time a character is smoking, keep your toothpick in your mouth, or a cigarette if you prefer. When you see a beer, milk, coffee in the picture, or anyone drinking, drink beer. I mean, you could have just stopped there, and I'm sure you must get, everyone's going to get, you're going to go through, but literally, you've got instructions that go on for 2 pages.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you're going to have this in a cinema, you will get the instructions before, and then if you will lose some of the instructions, it doesn't matter because, I mean, the condom thing is quite fun because it's just one line which he says extra kleine Gummis. Wir haben mit einem sehr kleinen Mann zu tun, which is a very small rubber because we have this guy we're looking for has a very small cock. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. That seems. Yeah, that seems fairly sensible, very straightforward. But literally, there are pages and pages of these. I do like lines like "drink when he eats the reporter." Of course, when he's the reporter. When Harry
getting so annoying about
drink, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, you just drink throughout, which obviously enhances. I mean, it's a fun movie. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's very much a fun movie. It's remarkably silly, which is what I like about it. And I'd be interested to see. So you mentioned, sorry, that you'd now got it up to 2K.
Yeah.
So have you digitally enhanced it now, or?
So I mean, it should look crappy anyway, because it's a punk movie. It's all about the idea was, okay, let's make our first movie and let's make all the mistakes in that movie,
right,
and beat them. So that's why. And then later on, I thought, well, this is punk and this is art. This is hilarious. But people in Sweden have been very offended about this movie. In the beginning, they really hated this one. And critic says this is one of the worst Swedish movies ever, which I disagree. But the thing is, when Gustav, the sound editor, approached my version of the movie, he did a terrific job, because he came from the game industry, and then he arranged everything with the sound, and I think that's why the movie still holds, because the sound is so good. And the dubbing thing is because German movies are very often dubbed. You're watching a movie with Eddie Murphy, and the Eddie Murphy goes, ach ja, ich komme gleich. And you're thinking, no, he's not. I've heard Eddie Murphy before, but he has never ever said those things in a movie before, especially with that accent. So we had so much fun doing this. So that's why it's synced afterwards and not in correct order.
I see. I did wonder about that. Oh, okay, fair enough.
So yes, that's because it should be like it's dubbed.
Right. Okay. Kelly says, hi, Kelly. Thanks for joining us. Kelly says that it sounds like a fun evening. The drinking game definitely sounds like a fun evening. And then Chanchal is applying onion juice on scalp good for airs. I don't. Does that mean anything to you?
Onions.
Onion, yes. He's applying onion juice on scalp, good for airs. This may just be a spam comment that's randomly come in.
Yeah, probably. I will try this one with the onion on my scalp.
Yes. I think you've just a random comment that's come in. Craig probably filtered these out, but I just wanted to double check I hadn't missed anything in Zombiejäger, and it was not part of the drinking game.
I think the music for that movie, that was something special, because I remember when I found a band called Avatar. Avatar was very small. Their manager was one of the monks. The guy's mums.
Right.
So, and they've been touring on every small place you can find, schools and those places for youth, for teenagers to go after schools, and they went all over the place. And now they are so big, they actually have been in front of all the other big bands, and suddenly they have those as 4-band instead of switching off places. So yeah, Avatar is huge now.
Good.
It's one of the biggest Swedish metal band,
Right.
including the Hammerfall and all of that. But this is the Gothenburg sound.
Right.
That's what they're famous for. But anyway, when I began, I had a message on my email, and it says, "Well, we are a small band, and we like zombie movies. Could we please be on your zombie movie?" And it says Lord Arryman signing off. So I called up and I said, "Hello, Lord Arryman." "Lord Arryman here." And I went, "Okay, I saw you want your music in my movie." And I told him, "Yeah, yes, it would be nice." And he said, "Well, I'm Mike." And the tone he switched completely from this big fellow to, "Hello, I'm Michael. And yes, I have this band. I will send you some records." And then when I received the records, I just realized, okay, this is the biggest Swedish death metal band ever. And he was so polite, and I mean, he didn't want to disturb and everything. And later on, when I met him, and we are still friends, he showed me what he collected as a child, and that was our censorship, Swedish film censorship. They have those catalogs where all the movies that have been banned in Sweden or been cut, and there was those figures. Okay, RoboCop, 100 meters of a movie were cut off. I mean, yeah. And he collected those information, and he showed me all those big folders. He had those on his shelf at home, and he showed me, "Oh, look, here's I think it was RoboCop and Running Man," and because all of those movies, otherwise they were cut or they were banned in Sweden completely. And this
are they available now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the censorship is gone.
Right.
But Zombiejäger was actually on the list. So when I sent it in to the censorship, I had to pay maybe 300 euros just to have them checked. So you can actually get those figures and those text about Zombiejäger, which says all the things in that movie, which is violent or if it's sex.
Right. Right. Yes, I notice you do like sex in your movies. Which reminds me that not the sex, but the fact that I believe that in Canada, when they first screened Hellraiser, it was cut by 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So, yeah, that's yes. I'm trying to work out what they could have left. I'd love to see the original cut version of.
Yeah, only the cuts.
It's just like, well, that would be the Cenobites gone, basically. Certainly, Jesus Wept wouldn't have survived, no doubt. It'd be really interesting to see exactly, if you take 15 minutes out of Hellraiser, what do you end up with? It just seems extraordinary.
It's almost like the Swedish version of RoboCop. Oh, I remember RoboCop. In 1987, when I received it and watched it, and I just realized, what happened here? So many cuts, and including the Predator movie, it was the same. Oh, they're shooting at what? What are they shooting at? And you just see them shooting in the forest, and you see nothing. All the the killings of the gorilla guys, they were completely wiped out.
It's great. And Kelly says that the shortened version of Hellraiser is just a very boring movie. Yeah, I could imagine
it. Maybe. 15 minutes off.
Yeah, just weird. Now we're going to talk about your another movie you chose called Cannibal Fog in a moment, but before we do that, Cannibal. I did put that. I have to say, that is just a wicked poster.
It's beautiful.
I meant wicked in the, in a great poster.
I will send you one.
No, it's fine. No, please don't send me. I have no room.
Hold on.
All these things. It's like people keep on giving me draw.
It's actually Danish, and it says ribben, which is ribs, and that's and in its back of his head it says brain as well. So this is the if you're a butcher, you will just realize, okay, this is the pieces you should put on your plate when you're preparing a human food.
Yes, I got that when I watched the movie. It's bizarre, but before we move on to that properly, I just wanted to talk about you as a music video director, and particularly your work with Octolab.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
With Octolab,
yeah,
I have to thank them because they were in the movie after Zombiejäger, which is called Dragonetti. They had a song that's Mind and Matter was the soundtrack for that one. And then in 2015, I think, they asked me, "Oh, we really love your stuff. Please make a music video to us." And I told them, well, okay, let's make a music video. And it went almost like 1 year, and then we made a music video called Caravan, and it took 1 year to make. It didn't took 1 year to make because but I was sick and I had some problems, so I wasn't able to actually do anything from 2015 to 2016. So in the 1st of April we released Caravan, which were their first music video, and they played Cenobites, 2 Cenobites. And the idea was to make a music video with influences of Italian horror.
Right. Giallo.
So I think especially the Caravan, when we have screened it on several film festivals, but we actually won one film festival in Romania for that one, for best picture.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
I mean, I love those old Italian and British horror movies, and especially the ones that have cuts inside. So you have like from one, because they didn't have much money, so they just bought one reel, and then it's not exactly the same, but no one will ever mess up. So we just put them together. Oh shit, we just So there is some cuts in the Caravan video where you actually see like, now the projector just jumped, and you see the flares,
the different size of the film, and yeah.
And I really like this. So we continued after the Caravan video. I did Mind and Matter, the same song from Dragonetti, but in completely new sound, and that just was the beginning of making five music videos for one album,
right?
Which is to be continued. So when I began doing part 2, I just realized, okay, let's make it bigger. And the girl Ariel, the singer, she said, well, I will put some more people and let's make into a ballroom. And I told them, okay, but I want some ideas from Kubrick and his movie. And that's how Mind and Matter turned out. And it was very, very scary to do, especially with the glass. We have a glass which shatter, and then she crawls over it. And I was a bit worried because she could actually hurt her very bad, because the sharpness was very, very sharp.
So you weren't using safety glass, you were using real glass.
What we use is real glass. You shouldn't use fake glass.
Should always use fake glass if you're going to be doing things like that.
Yeah, but it's not proper movie making if it's fake.
Right.
No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's because I really like the idea of shattering a glass like we did, because it turned out very nice.
Okay, cool. So I've got a question that's come in from Chauncey. Chauncey. I missed the N of your name. Chauncey Pierce. Jonas, do you utilize storyboards do you use storyboards in pre-production? I'm a storyboard artist in the US, but I was curious if they are used a lot in live action productions globally. And I'd say, that's both for your filmmaking or for your music videos. Do you use storyboards?
Yes. I usually have a storyboard, but on the music videos, I'm not using them as much as I should. But I know, because I have a photographer, David, and David, he knows me. So we are like two old guys, and we say to each other, okay, and a frog, and a bird, and a fish. And he said, okay. And then we put your gear on, and then we do some steady shots. Okay. So we don't need to. And he directs a lot of the shots, because he knows how to do them. So I will give him the full support. Sometimes it's much easier to use your photographer as your other eye, and then you concentrate on the actors. Because if you have a good photographer, you should just put your vision into his, because he knows if the scene's going to work or not.
That's it's very interesting. I know. I'm thinking of my mates Paddy Murphy and Barry Fay.
Yeah.
That's definitely from Celtic Badger Media. That's definitely how they work. So yeah, it's a very sensible idea, and I know most directors really want to find that kind of relationship so that they can work with the same cinematographer over time, so you can get that symbiotic relationship going. Cool. Thank you very much indeed for the question. Shout out to Badger, Celtic Badger. Kelly is a huge fan of Celtic Badgers. Let's move on to in the 10 minutes we have left. Let's move on to your Cannibal Fog, which is available. You showed us the poster earlier on. Very different in tone to your Zombiejäger. It's still humorous in parts, but it's very, very dark. Very dark. How did that? No, yes, kind of. There are
some of the characters are really funny. My favorite guy is actually the guy who has I mean, he's eating everything, including a tiger's paw.
Yeah, it's not the easiest watch in the world, I have to say. But how did it come about? What kicked off the idea?
I will tell you very fast. The thing is, Ruben Östlund, the guy who did Square, I went to Gothenburg Film Festival, and I spoke to him about my project, and he did the Avalanche. We've been knowing each other for some years anyway, and I wished him good luck, and then I should go home, and the tram stopped. So I missed the last tram back to Hisingen, where I live. So I have to walk in snow and sleet. So I decided, okay, I'm not fit. I'm not fit for this weather because I haven't got any proper clothes. I need something. So I went to McDonald's and I took a burger, and then I began to walk home. This was a Monday or Tuesday. So it took me nearly 4 hours going home in snow. So I decided I have to do something to make me warm. Okay, let's find out an erotic story to keep you warm, and a cannibal thing. So it's actually 3 stories in one. It's about the first one is the sex, and then you have the dinner, and then afterwards the race. So the last one, the race, was actually a story about 2 cannibals competing to each other to see how many people they can eat before they get arrested. But then I met up with a guy whom his name is Brian Bell, and he and me we actually wrote the script for Cannibal Fog. He knew that it needed a name, and the name was Cannibal Fog. He just told me, I know the name for your movie, Cannibal Fog. Oh, lovely, great. And then we have the mythology of eating, tasting human flesh once, you get focused. Eating the 3rd time, you will get an orgasm. Eating flesh 5th time, you will go into this Cannibal Fog mode, which is like a tunnel vision. So yes, and the 5th, because it's so easy to go from 3 to 5. That's why the whole thing is. I had a lot of research when I did this movie, so I tried to find so many about all the cannibals in the world, and some of them actually have said, well, tasting human flesh, you will just keep on eating because it's so powerful.
Really?
And look at Jeffrey Dahmer. He actually barbecued some human flesh. Well, when people around him ate their burgers, he did some human burgers.
Yeah, you see, this is just wrong.
No, I'm not telling you it's right.
Yeah, no, I know. But as I say, you know, I suppose you could call it a dark satire. The movie, I mean, it's 2 hours long. There's an awful lot in it. There, you know, I've seen it described as surreal because of the way you've edited it and cut it and so on. You've got interweaving. You know, you've got the stories of the 2 main
the main characters, Michael and Alban.
Yeah. And it's strange.
But it's amusing. And when I received the first reviews, I thought, well, no one will ever like this. They will hate it as much as they hated Zombiejäger. And I was totally wrong.
It's got a very, very respectable score on IMDb from about 40 reviews.
7.4, I think, which is, I mean, It's more like more than a Tudor movie.
It's all right. Sorry, that's my husband to say that I tried to turn my phone off, but I'm just rubbish at technology, obviously. Apologies for that. I'm not sure what he's telling me. Probably that he's going to be home much later. Yeah, it's, as I say, very interesting. Again, how long did it take to film?
Oh, that was so fast. I received a message from Thomas at Weekend of Horrors in Germany,
Yeah,
and
I know
also,
Thomas.
yeah. And he said, "Do you want to screen it in Germany?" And I said, "Well, yes, of course." And then, I mean, I was in the middle of the beginning of making the movie, so I did just, well, we have to make sure it's going to be ready by August. So we just put everything together, and it was ready in August. And then in a film festival in Mexico said, "Well, we want the world premiere in Mexico." And I said, "Okay." So they got the world premiere in Mexico, and then I went to Germany.
Right, right. When was this?
2014.
Right.
So it's an old movie. It's 4 years old. So that's why I think, I mean, I've been producing most movies now. I've been producing 7 or 8 movies already.
Right.
But the thing is, I'm doing a Viking movie with a Russian writer and a Indian director.
Right.
And it's going to be shot here in Sweden.
That bit makes sense.
And that's a horror Viking movie.
Right.
And then I have 2 spaghetti westerns with a guy named Danny from Spain. And he makes spaghetti western, classic spaghetti western movies. And he wants to make 2 of them here in Sweden, partially shot here in Sweden. And then we shoot the rest in Spain. And last week, I got a message from a guy in India telling me, "I want to work with you and make Bollywood movies. So if we can come to Sweden and shoot a car chase in a tunnel, and a fighting sequence, and a romantic dancing scene." So that's what I'm planning to do.
That's very different from what you've been doing up until now, although in some respect, I mean, it's all directing and producing stuff. Oh, brilliant. Congratulations, because you actually you got ahead of me in terms of the question, because I was just about to ask you at the last minute what you've got on the cards coming up. That sounds very exciting. That sounds really interesting.
I will keep you informed how it goes. But I think, I mean, Bollywood movies, it's always been something for me that's very close to my heart.
Oh, yeah, they're fun.
One of the reasons is actually when we shot the Zombiejäger, the torture scene in that movie was in a red room. And when I came back for another shoot in the same room, they transformed it into Bollywood screening room. And I was so furious because I couldn't use anything in that room because it was with flowers and gold and yellow and all kinds of stuff, not red.
You see, I would love to see a Bollywood zombie movie. I just love the idea of Bollywood, zombies dancing in Bollywood style. I think that would be wonderful. I have a deep fondness for Bollywood movies. It's a really interesting art form as far as it's just fun. Very much a style of their own. Very much a style of their own. Anyway, we're now at the end of our hour. Chauncey says that there is the urban legend how Sloppy Joe sandwiches was derived from a poor guy ground up into a sandwich named Joe, victim of a jealous husband. Sloppy Giuseppe. I thought it was, yes, I don't know. I may not be able to look at the pizza again. Jonas, thank you so very much indeed for joining us. This has been fascinating. I wish you luck.
Had a great time. Yeah. And I hope the audience had a great time, because
They've certainly been watching and commenting. Thank you, everybody who's been commenting. And to say, hopefully, Craig will be back at home next week, so normal service will be returned, and I won't read out spam messages. Anyway, Jonas, thank you very much indeed. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Next week, there's no guest next week. There will be the following week. On the 24th, but on the 17th. So I'd like to talk about your favorite vampire. So I'll set up that show in the next couple of days, and we can, vampires, great movies. There are some really, so who is your favorite vampire? I'll set that up I'll put that up on, if you've liked the Chattering with Nicholas Vince page. I'm wondering if I can sort out a poll, either on Chattering with Nicholas Vince or elsewhere, as to, let's get a vote going as to your favorite vampire in a movie. Anyway, so lots of those to choose from. All right, this has been Chattering with Nicholas Vince. I've been chatting with Jonas Wolcher, and hopefully see some of you guys next week. In the meantime, I've lost my cursor. There's my cursor. Told you, useless with technology. Hopefully see some of you next week.